Good afternoon. To order the November 8th, 2023 meeting of our finance meeting. So right now we have the opportunity for public comment. Lauren, do we have anyone online? No. Okay, and we don't have any public comment in the building or in the room. So number 3, we'll go to the approval of the minutes of November 1, 2023.
I'll motion to approve the minutes of November 1.
And I will second that motion. So all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. So motion carries. And so now we are on to number 4, which is our topics of discussion. And we will start with Cumberland County Housing and Redevelopment Authority Executive Director Mary Kuna, who's here for her quarterly update. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you. Okay, so again, just a little reminder of our mission, and essentially the Housing and Redevelopment Authorities have been around since 1975. So it's kind of a bear, to be honest with you. A lot of things have happened since 1975. So we are doing a lot of interesting cleanup and maneuvering, and I'll get into some of that discussion. But just for some clarity, I know we always get the question about who qualifies for our programs. So I thought it would be interesting to share with the public, again, qualifying incomes. So particularly here in Cumberland County, if you think about it, a family of 1 that's considered low income would be under 80% of the median income. Family of 1 is $55,900. So someone making $55,000 essentially is eligible for most, if not all, of our programs. So just for clarity's sake, again, when you think about that, that's not just individuals who are working at a entry-level job. It could be a number of different households. So a little update on the Housing Authority. Something actually very interesting occurred the other day. So we were notified that the federal government has designated 41 metro areas within the country to now start using small area fair market rents. Now, what does that mean for Cumberland County, since we are one of the 41? It actually benefits our clients here in Cumberland County immensely. It means that instead of using a giant MSA regional calculation, we get to go down to small areas. So we get to go by zip code to create our small area market rents. So that means we currently do the West Shore, we have Carlisle, and then we have the Shippensburg market. This will allow us to drill down to really create a fair market rent for every area of Cumberland County. And that is incredibly important because when you look at Cumberland County, rents are very different from place to place. So this will allow us to get more vouchers on the street and basically compensate landlords more readily with meeting the market demand. So again, right now our waiting list is around 1,400 households. We in Cumberland and Perry County have about 1,300 vouchers available to us from HUD. We've leased up a little over 1,200 of those. We consistently do pools, so we continue to see new leases going out. But one bright area that we have excelled in is something called VASH vouchers. So those are veterans vouchers. Cumberland was initially awarded 5 of those, I believe, in a trial run about 2 years ago. Our staff have been incredible working with the VA over in Lebanon, and so HUD came back and said, we want to give you 16 more. So that voucher allows veterans to go find housing. It is much more flexible than a regular voucher. So HUD continues to push them out in Cumberland. We are very blessed with landlords who are happy to take them, happy to house again, veterans. So it's been a wonderful opportunity for us. And hopefully if we can lease up these, we will actually go after more. So again, and our partners at the VA have been fantastic. So coordinated entry, this is the list of homeless households in the county. That is at around 332. This sometimes changes. Right now, we have funding to put 63 people in permanent supportive units who are basically chronically homeless. We have funding right now where we're putting 4 people in rapid rehousing. The idea at the end of the day, we have restructured this division pretty readily. The goal is to work with people with intense case management and get them moving on to either a voucher or stabilized in housing. So we have taken away the focus of just qualifying people and focusing on paperwork. It is much more targeted on the individual. We've done that by shifting some things internally. So case managers really will case manage. We want to get you moving through the program. And then on public housing, we right now have 208 units here in this county and 671 people on our waiting list. So again, we have, I believe at this point, maybe 8 vacant units. Most of those are spoken for. So one big, we didn't have more, big change HUD is implementing in 2024, a huge change for us. So they are finally, since 2016, when this was originally put into law, now unveiling it and requiring us to follow through. So this is the Housing Opportunity Through Modernization Act. What does that mean? In layman's terms, HUD is changing how they do everything, calculations, everything. So some big things, it's changing how we qualify income. It is changing how families qualify for public housing. I've listed out just some of the basics, but HUD has taken a really deep look and taken into account where we run into problems. One of the big areas is now, you can qualify with income, but sometimes people have assets. A lot of times those assets have not been taken into account. So you may qualify with a significant amount of assets. HUD has now changed that. So they are limiting, if you have a certain amount of money in certain accounts, then you will not qualify. So they have changed, they have expanded certain things, they have removed certain things, but they have basically looked at the programs and said what really makes sense. So it does benefit some families. It does help clear out some underlying issues. But essentially, my staff have been going to trainings all over the place. So I think we are in a pretty good position when this launches around our fiscal year end, that we should be in great shape. But it is changing everything. It is also changing how we inspect units. So they are going to something called Inspire, I like acronyms, but this will also change how we go about inspecting units. And really the goal is to focus on what health and safety. So for example, if there's exposed wires or blocked fire exits, they'd be classified under health and safety, which would receive more attention than aesthetic concerns like peeling paint. You would think that that would be common, but there are some nuances with how we currently run inspections where the priorities are weighted differently. So the goal is to get away from some of the things that are less important and really focus on health and safety, things that are incredibly important. So for your information, which might be very valuable, we do have a number of affordable housing projects coming online in this county. So out in Shippensburg, Citrus Grove, they broke ground, they are in construction, but that will be 40 units right in the borough of Shippensburg, particularly designated for senior citizens. We have the Point at Sporting Hill, that's 39 units. That is a family property over in Hampton Township. Riverton Woods will be 40 units over in Lemoyne Borough for, again, senior citizens. Normandy Lofts, that one will, I believe, be breaking ground. That's 40 units for senior citizens over in Southampton Township. Harbor Village, which is in construction right now, again, 40 units of family over here in Southampton Township, right near the borough of Carlisle. And then we have 2 proposed projects coming up this tax credit cycle. One of those would be in Perry County, one would be in Cumberland. So we are seeing some movement in development. And I noticed that this is cut off. So we manage the Affordable Housing Trust Fund for the county. That covers a few different areas, but one area is down payment closing assistance. We had 20 settlements in 2023. Just so you know, since the county implemented the trust fund, which is a fee attached to recording, we have helped 850 first-time home buyers acquire their first house. So it has been moving pretty steadily throughout the process. And then our emergency homeowner rehab program, the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board met with our staff, and our staff recommended this is a program that's designed, boiler goes out, air conditioning goes out, immediate roof replacement. It's a very small amount of money that you are given, but it is for those emergency repairs. We can get it to you quickly. We can readily get you somebody to repair them. The barrier of entry is very low. So what we are finding is if we are replacing your heating unit, it is going to cost you well over the $5,000 that the program initiated. So the board was very generous and has moved that up to actually to $10,000. We did complete 11 of those in the 2022-2023 cycle. Right now, we actually have the whole homes program open, so we're not doing as much of the emergency rehabs, but of course, with the winter coming, you never know. It's our always popular soft cost affordable housing development loan program. So our friends at Harbor Village borrowed $70,000 to help with their soft costs. They returned that as soon as they closed on their property. We now have another group that came before the board who has a project, and they asked if they could essentially do the same thing. So we are just revolving that money back out to a new developer who again will repay it once their project is complete. Landlord engagement and funding. So we are, when it comes to landlords, we are doing everything we can to reach out to them. And we've been doing what we call housing happy hours. They've actually been incredibly successful. I don't think there is one where we did not have the majority of attendees be people who have never taken Section 8. So we have a numerous amount of landlords who are coming in, they're interested in our program, they want to ask more. It's easier to ask in person, so the barriers are removed. You get to come, you talk to us in an open environment, eat a little bit, and then you can even network with some other landlords. So we had our last one October 24th, and there was only one landlord present who currently takes the voucher program. Everyone else was brand new and stopped by because they were interested. Again, you need landlords to accept vouchers to get them out on the streets. So it is very helpful the more landlords we can have. So 30 new ones in this county have begun accepting the voucher over the last year. And then we distributed $250,000 so far in our whole homes landlord lending. And that has created 5 new affordable units in the county. When it comes to the Redevelopment Authority, we are moving and shaking. So we are going to be launching 2 new programs. We're going to be doing a redevelopment revolving loan program. We currently have in the county a Street View program, which is a grant for mixed use and commercial properties. The goal is that's a limited grant. There is going to be some changes internally that have allowed us to say, okay, what's the best use of some other revolving loans we have and where should we repurpose them? So the idea is we can couple that grant with a loan. So instead of just being able to grant you a little bit of money, we'll assist you with additional money to make sure that your project is entirely covered, your facade and improvements you need. Existing programs. So the county CDBG fund is on track to exceed its timeliness expectations. Last time this year, we were over $1 million that we had to spend down by May. So staff hustled, and I give them immense credit for that. This year, instead of that $1 million, we're at $230,000 that needs to be spent by May, which we will spend well before that. And then on November 1st, so our applications for program year 2024 have opened. And we hosted 3 open houses for CDBG all around the county. The attendees were individuals who have never ever looked at the program before. So it was wonderful to see the expansion to new nonprofits, new communities that think they never thought of it. So the more applicants we have, the better it is. And it's a program for everybody in Cumberland County. So we hope to get as many applications as possible. Our home program, we've provided additional funds to Sporting Hill, which again is that project over in Hampton Township. And right now there's a request for Shippensburg Villas and Flats, which is a affordable housing community proposed out in Southampton Township. And Tri-County Housing Development Corp, they are developing 3 new first-time home buyer properties. So 1 will be in Lemoyne and 2 are going to be in New Cumberland. Staff were very diligent in going after additional grant awards. So we received $100,000 in fair funds from PHFA to preserve affordable housing here in Cumberland. We also applied for the Hoff MF Award. It's a new program that PHFA came out with, and that we received $1.3 million to preserve 2 properties in Perry County. Tax credit properties get old like everything else, and unfortunately, once you are in so many years into the project, they do not cash flow as well. So PHFA has recognized that and said we will put money forward to assist these projects to improve them. So we were very grateful for that. And again, DCED home operating funds. So 2 nonprofits applied for those. And the commissioners, you were very gracious. The county was to help them with those applications. So they received $368,000 in operating funds. Again, these were our open houses, whole home repairs. This is the program that we just launched. This is state money that came through to do basically homeowner rehab. We have 64 households on the waiting list at this point. We've completed 4. We have them, we're processing them every month. 68,000 has been spent to date. There's 360,000 plus the work on that list of 64. We've actually had to close it. It's just at this point, there's not enough contractors to be able to do it. So it's usually a slew of contractors that we deal with, and usually they're a 2-man, 3-man band. So they're taking on these projects, but again, they're constrained by how much they can get done. And that's just the nature of the market at this point. So, and I believe most other counties are having the same issue. Blighted properties. So the blight process has been going along swimmingly, actually. So these are the townships and boroughs that have actually started to participate very actively. What I am most proud of is that at this point, the Redevelopment Authority has only really had to take action on 3 of those and a possible 4th. Out of all the properties that have been submitted, particularly in Silver Spring Township, of the 7, 5 have voluntarily remediated themselves. In Cumberland, 2 have voluntarily remediated out of the 3. So again, we're seeing Lemoyne Borough had 2 voluntarily remediate. The goal is to have voluntary compliance. When the township or borough cannot get compliance, they reach out to us, and this is a process where we want the property owner to take some action. It is not the goal of the Redevelopment Authority to constantly be addressing some of these situations. We do as a last resort. So it is very nice to see that things are moving along, and we give the municipalities all the credit to work with someone. They lead the charge. So if they let us know, we really trust that this person is working on their property, we work with them and say, okay, you let us know. But we have taken action on a number of those. The county does have a demolition fund. So right now, 5 properties have been demolished. We have 4 that are in the queue with more coming. Right now, we spent a total of about $153,000 on those demolitions. We are going to use some of those additional funds for removing some of those blighted properties that you see on your list. So we are sort of tracking our spending because there are some that we will have to demolish, undoubtedly. Events and outreach. Basically, we, again, do CDBG open houses. We have been doing tours of different nonprofits to try to get the word out about their work. We've had our housing happy hour. We have attended all kinds of outreach throughout the county. So I have staff that are very happy to go share their message wherever they go. So we are just trying to make sure we are out and about and reaching people where they are. And then the last thing I will toss out is we are actually hosting our inaugural Cumberland County Community Development Conference. So this year's topic for 2024 is going to be reinvesting in redevelopment. It's 1 day. We'll give it a shot for 1 day and see how it works. If we have to expand it the following year, great. But in any case, the plan is April 9th. Invitations will be sent out soon. We will be there from 10 to 4 at Central Penn College. We have a full list of speakers throughout the day, breakout sessions. We already have sold out of our happy hour sponsor and our gold sponsors, and we have a number of silver. We actually have another county that's sponsoring as well, which is kind of interesting. So it's very exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. It is the opportunity for people who have done some great projects in this county to discuss what they have done. It's a nice opportunity for individuals, including the municipalities, to get together and discuss some ideas. We do a discount for municipalities. Tickets are $35, but municipalities get a discount. So if you are any sort of municipal or government official, it's only going to be 10. So it's to incentivize them to come to learn. We are focused on not just what you think of as redevelopment. And there people think brownfields, people think downtowns. It is more than that in Cumberland. We have developers who have taken on single family homes to redevelop. We have developers who have gone all along the Carlisle Pike, taking old shopping centers and fixing them. To me, there's very great opportunity in this county and people who have done really amazing things, and we should showcase not just what you think of traditionally, but Cumberland is very diverse in how it operates. So we have a huge day ahead of us. So that is where we are as an authority at the moment. We're moving right along. So ideally we can keep juggle all the balls in the air with all the changes coming. And there are some long-term plans to address some of the aging housing stock that we have in the county, and hopefully we can make a dent. So I'll answer any questions if you have them.
Mary, on the blighted properties, in Pennsboro, specifically 4th Street, Somerdale, what's the status of that?
4th Street in Somerdale, 318 4th.
Yeah.
Yes. So that one, we went after conservatorship, and it basically forced the hand of the owner who said she had sold it to somebody else. We continued to pursue conservatorship because unfortunately, you know, you may sell it to somebody, but there's no guarantee. So in an agreement with them, basically we did a stipulation, the judge approved it. The new owner is going to be required to get it fixed within so many days. They will post a bond of $70,000 and are held to getting the property up to code as soon as possible. So they have started that work, and again, we'll hold them to it so that it's not one of the concern is always with a property like that. It's a small single family home in a really nice neighborhood. And unfortunately, sometimes people just buy these and don't know what they're getting into, and you end up with the same problem. So we're just keeping the feet to the fire. You made a commitment, I can't please fix it up. So it's in process, and the township's actually very happy. There's permits being pulled, so things are moving.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mary.
Oh, you're welcome.
I guess there's, all right.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
So now we'll go ahead. We have Dana Best and Tammy Bender, and we're going to do a financial analysis committee question and answer session.
Good afternoon, back again. I lost my pen. You found it. Thank you. So we're back again to talk about the budget. We did receive some questions. Do you want us to handle it the way we did last week and just go over the questions and then you can ask additional questions?
That seems fine.
Okay, perfect. So I'll start. One of the questions was, why do we go from 170 days to 58 days in 1 year? So from page 10 of the appendix that we had given out, this is the difference between the projected 23 and projected 24. And the majority of that difference is being caused by interest revenue decreasing, salary expense increasing, and subsidies increasing for MHIDD and 911 telephone. In addition, it's how we are also moving the one-time monies around, and that's on page 11 of the attachment. And in addition, oh, she's having. Okay. So we're having technical issues. So the graph that looks like this, you can get to the graph. Okay. That's page 11. The appendix is having trouble. So what we try to do is visualize how the fund balance changes over time to kind of show that once you start decreasing fund balance, how it increases over, the decrease increases over time. So if you go to 2021, we had a negative $873,000 decrease in fund balance. In 2022, we had that decrease plus an additional decrease of 1.1 million. And in 2023, we are projecting that 873, the 1 million, the 1.1 million plus an additional $2 million. Now, one thing that's complicating the changes also is we also have one-time money at play where we're changing the balance by utilizing some of the assigned and committed fund balance. So in 23, how we allocate those one-time monies will dramatically impact the ending fund balances in the future years also. But in 23, we go to an additional $2.1 million decrease in addition to the 1.1 from the year before and 873. So it just compounds over time. Does that make sense? If your revenues and if your expenses are already exceeding your revenues in the year before, unless you make a change, whether that's a change in ongoing expenses, revenues, or use of one-time money, that difference will continue to grow over time. Does that answer your question? So now we'll move on to Vince's question and I'll let Tammy take over.
Vincent asked, one of the scenarios Vincent asked was, if we freeze salary and benefits to 2023 levels and we do a 14% reduction to expenses. Now, this is where we have to pay attention in these scenarios because some of them are based on the equivalent of a real estate change. Some of them we have where they're truly 10% of expenses, 5% of our expenses, which are two different numbers. So I just wanted to caution you when you're looking at the scenarios to make sure. We have them noted in here, which one is which, but the first one is 14%. It's based on equivalent of a real estate village change. And in this top one here, 23 projected still at 107, but it will take you out to 2027 with us 78 days and 27 on the first scenario here.
So I think the important thing to note in this, it would freeze salaries at the 2023 levels. So it would actually be a reduction to the current salaries because the step increase would have been a half a year in 23 and a half a year in 24, plus the evergreen study. So to freeze them at the same level, it's actually a decrease. Does that?
No, doesn't make any sense.
No, it makes no sense.
No
to
sense
me.
at all.
We changed the salary structure.
Correct.
I'm not asking for that to change. So our employees received pay increases this year based on the evergreen study, correct?
Yes.
All right.
So
I'm not asking that they be reduced. I'm asking that for the next year, which would be 2024.
Okay. So
Maybe the increase would be reduced,
so
not necessarily frozen. And I don't recall asking for a 14% reduction.
you asked for what it would take if we froze salaries at the 2023 levels. I'm sorry, I'm not. What it would take to balance the budget through 26. And so we're showing that if we were able to do that, it would take an additional 14%
Okay,
change.
understood.
It's not a recommendation. And we can change it so that it's the 24, the current salary with a freeze. But then that will probably go to 15% instead of 14.
So like,
In the second one, we just basically, we did a 10% reduction of all expenses. That would be salary, benefits, operating, capital, transfers, everything. And we put all the one-time money in 2024. And that gives us 137 days in 24 and out in 26, 83 days. Unassigned fund balance.
what is all the quote, all one-time money?
That is the,
It's just over 16 million.
if I go back to the sheet,
Yeah, but can you
it's
break down what that is? What makes up
So-
the 16 million?
the 16 million, the CNRC sale proceeds, that's 7,482,000. Then we have fund balance management of 4,695,200. And then we have some unallocated county grant program of 4,659,000.
Thank you.
And then that's the second one. Third one, because you'd asked for a 10% and a 5%. So the third one here was just a 5% reduction of all expenses and all the one-time monies in. That gives us 120 days in 24, out in 26, it's 31. This last group does. Sorry. This last section does a 10% reduction to operating expenses. That's our true operating expenses. And all the one-time monies in 2024. So using just operating expenses, we're at 112 days in 24, like 6 in 26. We also did 5%. And 5% with all the one-time money in 24, that's getting us 107 in 24, 57 and 25. And there's many different scenarios that we can do, and we can also go over to the interactive spreadsheet. If anybody has, any specific scenarios they'd like to see, we can put them in.
We still don't have fiscal code from the state, correct?
For like MH.
For everything, it's my understanding that we do not have fiscal code from the state yet.
We do not have answers to everything from the state. yet.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's another moving piece on this.
absolutely.
Okay,
We have a substantial amount of moving pieces.
yes, we do. Yes, we do. Stacy, have we gone to our department heads to talk about operational expenses and what each department head thinks about their departments and what could happen there?
We had started that conversation with department heads at department head meetings after the last FAC, and they are scheduled, Dana and Tammy
Okay.
are scheduled at the next department head meeting to have that conversation again and to start planning more robust conversations.
Okay. Have we heard anything about when the state thinks they're gonna write this fiscal code? I haven't.
Any additional questions? Do you want to see some different scenarios?
I don't have anything today.
Okay,
Takes a little bit to process it all. But I appreciate that you keep coming back to the table.
Right, this is good.
Yeah.
It really helps, but I will tell you, based on the fact that what you presented here, the fact that we have unanswered questions, the fact that we have one-time money, be it 16 million, I really have no reason, me personally, to raise county property taxes on our residents for 2024. I think there are ways that if we keep looking at this, that we can have a better solution than a tax increase. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I've said similar things. And I need to really take a look at those one-time monies because as we know, there's $7.5 million sitting there from the nursing home. And I'm not convinced I'm ready to even come close to touching that at this point in time. We also have a new board next year.
yes.
And I think there's going to be some fresh ideas coming from this board to talk about operational expenses and how we do some things and really looking at things. So there's a lot at play for me personally to come to a conclusion for this year.
And so the dates for potentially putting this on you is November 15th, which would put final approval on December 13th. November 22nd, which would also be December 13th. And November 29th would be an approval on December 20th. So we have flexibility for further discussions.
Yes. Just good. Any further questions from the board?
No, but I'm gonna have some more option requests.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can do those live also. I mean,
Okay.
now the spreadsheet is set up that it takes an expense that is the equivalent of a tax change
Right,
Right.
to make it easier, because it starts getting confusing when you start talking, well, this expense is based on all the expenses. This is just operating.
yeah.
That's why it's kind of an simplification, but it makes it easier.
Right.
I mean, even when we were doing the scenarios, we were like, which one is that?
Mhm.
It's just easier to put it all in the same dollars.
So no further questions? Thank you. Thank you both. Do we have any other business to come before the board today? Seeing none, we need to move to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn.
And we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.